Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Pete's Quarter Life Crisis. In this one, we're going to be going through some pennies. I have a couple different things to look through. First, we have a 1959p roll of, looks like BU or AU pennies to go through. That has a double die variety that we can look for. And then also a 1995 roll of pennies, and this year also has a double die variety that we can look for. So we're going to be looking for doubling on those pennies, and we'll go into more detail on each of those varieties that we're looking for once we get there. And then I also have just 4 rolls of wheat pennies in general, and these are not going to be BU, but we're going to be looking for varieties, rare dates, anything fun that we can find in the wheat penny variety. So hold on and we'll get started. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to start off with the 1995 P pennies. And so this is what we're going to be looking for, this double-dyed obverse DDO FS101. I have a little better look at it here. This is what it's going to look like. It should be fairly obvious. Looks like pretty good doubling on the In God We Trust. And then a little bit more detail here on In God We Trust. I guess a little bit in the eye, a little bit harder to see, and should be some doubling in the Liberty too. And maybe the date, but the date definitely looks harder to spot. And there's a couple varieties based on looking at die cracks in the columns, so you can figure out a little bit more specifically what version of the DDL you have. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to crack open these 1995 pennies and see if we can't find anything interesting. Alright, so we're going to crack open these 1995 pennies and see if we can't find any of the double die varieties. That would be fun. Double dies are one of my favorite things, but they're hard to find. They're pretty rare. So, also, I bought these rolls from a variety of sources, so you never truly know if they haven't been searched or not. So, really just hope to get lucky and have a legit roll that hasn't been searched through. That's all you can hope for. So these look pretty shiny, looking pretty BU. Let's see. And let's switch to the other camera once we start looking at them. So again, we're looking for, let's go back and look at it one more time. Looking for this type of doubling here. So we want to see it on the In God We Trust. So let's get an example of the God up here and then go back to that. So we should be, if we're going to see it, it should be some obvious doubling on the God and the We and the Liberty, which I don't see any of on this one, but we'll just look through it. Alright, guess I'll just throw them back in here. Let's gone through them. And I might speed this up so you don't. Well, that was the last 1995 penny, and unfortunately didn't find any doubling. We struck out, but we have some more things to do. We're going to move on to the 1959 P pennies next. Alright, so the 1959 has two DDO varieties that we'll be looking for, and these ones are a little bit harder to spot, so it's going to take a little bit more time, I think. So this is the FS 104 variety, which seemingly worth a little bit more than the other one. So we'll look at this FS 104 first. So this one says there's a medium spread on the Liberty with lightly notched corners on the In God We Trust. So we're going to be looking for some doubling on the In God We Trust, and as you can see, it is definitely harder to pick up than the 1995 variety. So I'm going to have to look at some of these coins for a little while to get a better idea of what I'm looking for. And then this other DDO variety is the FS101, and it says it has medium extra thickness on the date with some separation on the 59. So something over here is going to be different. So we'll see if we can't get some coins to look at to see how we're going to be able to spot these. Alright, so let's crack open these 1959s and start taking a look. Hopefully we can find some doubling. Oops. Oh, not sure I'm going to get this one out of this roll alive. Yep. Oh well. Let's just open it like this. Yeah. So we'll be taking a look at these guys. So I know on one of them it said that there was more of a spread on the 59. So I'm going to do some back and forth just to get an idea of what I'm looking for. So the first one was medium spread. Liberty, light notch corners on the In God We Trust. Doubling on the R. Definitely going to be harder to find. Alright, let's go back to the coin and just take a look. See if we notice anything suspicious. Any doubling? For notches. All right. Alright, well, I don't see anything on this coin, so I'm just going to look through some coins without putting them away just to get an idea, a better idea of what we are going to be seeing and looking for. So I'm going to pause it and just take a closer look through the pictures and compare some things. I'll be right back. Alright, so I kind of went through the pictures again. I think the things I'm mainly going to be focusing on is trying to find this thicker 9. It seems the easiest thing for me to look for. So that's for the FS101, is the thicker 9. And then the FS 104, I think some of it's going to be, I'm going to be looking on the R in Liberty, and I guess some weirdness on the in, because it's really hard to see any of the other differences. So that's what we'll be looking for. Probably have to fast forward this because I'm still going to struggle to look through these with any speed. Alright, so this one I stopped for a little while. It interested me. Underneath my loop, that D looks like it's like slightly rotated and doubled, but it's really hard to tell. I don't see any of the other markers. The 59 looks the same, so I'm just going to move on and keep looking. It's really hard to spot these double dies on this 59, but it's interesting. Just need practice. This one's real interesting. It has, like, you can see in the God, in the G, it has a different angle for that inner part of the G. It definitely looks doubled, but I don't see any other doubling on any other aspect of it. So I'm going to take a closer look with my loop, see if I can't see something. Alright, so under the loop it just looks like maybe it's just damage. You can kind of see through the middle of the left side of the G2, there's a little nick, so might have just been hit. So we'll keep looking. Well, unfortunately, I've gone through all these 59 pennies and I don't think I see the doubling. Again, it's really hard to pick up, so I hope I didn't miss something, but thus is the life. We're going to move on to the next set of things, which are just 4 rolls of wheat pennies, and we'll go through them, and if I find anything interesting, we'll stop and take a look. Thanks. Alright, so we're just going to dump these out, go through them, see what we got. Definitely circulated. But maybe we have a better date or some sort of variation. So we'll take a look. Alright, so that covers that roll. We didn't find anything specifically. This was the oldest coin from 1920. You know, there were some other coins in there that were damaged or some were in okay condition if we would have found anything, but didn't find any doubling on any of them. This would have been the best one to find it on, these 1955s, or have a very famous double die variety. That would have been nice. So let me clean up and then we're going to open up the next roll. Alright, let's open up this one. Alright, let's start going through them. Alright, well I stopped it here. I don't know if this is or not. It's hard to tell. I'll set it aside, but it's possible that this is the 1953 D repunchment mark. It's just, since it's worn, it's kind of hard to tell. You'll see that the D at the bottom has quite a bit of extra width compared to the top of the D. So let's look at the PCGS. So here's a normal 1953 D. You'll kind of see there is a little bit of extra width at the bottom, but it's roughly the same width as the left side of the D. And then here is the repunched mint mark. You'll see that the lower side of the D has a lot more width than the left side of the D. So that's kind of what I'm thinking it's possible we have here. Because the bottom part and the middle part of the D definitely have extra width, so it's possible that this has the 1953 repunch mint mark FS502. Set it aside and maybe take a closer look at it later. So it's a pretty cool find if it is that, and we'll keep on looking. Alright, so we got a 1923, not exactly a key date, but it is a lower mintage. I think only 74 million of these minted, so it's kind of cool. Definitely seeing some older coins in this batch, so let's keep on going. Alright, here's the oldest weed cent we've found so far, 1914. This one's pretty worn. Again, pretty low mintage on this, about 75 million. So I'd like to find one of these key dates in better shape, but it's going to be tough sledding, so let's see how it goes. Let's get back to it. Alright, so that finishes off this roll, and so we had the possible find of the 1 RPM. So I'm going to clean this up and then move on to the next roll. Alright, let's dump out another roll. This is the second to last roll, so after this one more, and we'll go from there. Hopefully we find something. Super worn, whatever it is. Huh, 1909. I believe it's 1909. If it's a VDB, it's somewhat rare. I guess we'll flip it over and find out. Wow, is that worn? Yeah, I think that is a VDB. You can kind of see the V at the just the very last remnants of the V. So that's a 1909 VDB. What is that? 1909 VDB mintage. Looking it up is 27 million. So it's on the rare side. But in this condition, it's not worth much. But pretty cool anyway to find a 1909 VDB. Super, super worn though. Get an angle where you could actually see the full. Yeah. That is very worn, but still cool nonetheless. I'm going to set it aside as one of the cooler finds of the day, so keep looking. This one's really worn again, whatever this one is. Oof, I have no idea. 19 something 7, 07, who knows? No, it can't be 07 because 1909 was the first year. So what is that, 1917 maybe? I don't know. Super, super, super worn. Based on my own eyes, it looks like 1917. did have a double die, but not going to be able to see it with that glare. Alright, 1990, another older coin. Not super rare though. Well, 1912, another not key date, but rarer vintage. 68 million of these minted, but it is very worn. So just thought you'd like to see that. 1912. Moving on. Alright, so that's the end of this roll. Just the 1909 VDB, which is pretty cool. Maybe another RPM. We'll take a look at that later. One more roll to go. Hang in there. Alright, let's get this last roll of Wheaties opened. And hopefully we can find some goodies. The last roll had a lot of oldies. Some cool things, but nothing fantastic. So let's start going through them, see what we can find. Rotate it. Well, this could be a 1956 D repunch mint mark. You can kind of see the double serif at the bottom. It's hard to tell because it's, you know, a little bit worn, but it's actually in decent shape. All the other lettering is alright. So, I mean, it's possible this is the repunched mint mark. So I'm going to set it aside. Alright guys, well, that wraps it up. I didn't find anything else in the last of those wheat cents, so let's just take a quick look over what the finds were. I'll lay them out on the scope. So we have a 1909 VDB, and then we have a couple possible repunch mint marks. The 56 D over D. This one I couldn't tell. 53D possibly, again because of the mint mark at the bottom is larger than normal. And then this one I had for comparison. So, and then here's the 1909 VDB, which is super worn, but still 1909 VDB, so that's pretty cool. Anyhow, hopefully we'll find some better stuff next time. Thanks for watching. This was Pete's Quarter Life Crisis. Take care.